All right, Mr. Chairman, you know by now we've done this a few times, right? We'll take some attendance and we'll do roll call votes if we make any motions.
Absolutely. So we should do the attendance first, I guess. Do we need to do that by roll call, or are we good with just saying, look, I can see people?
Yeah, we
No,
should roll
at least
call.
say your names.
Joe Tennyson.
Here.
Robin Williams.
Williams. Jim.
Jim Griffin.
John Garside, Director.
Trey.
Trey Hassan, Sanitarian.
Tina Nolan, Clerk.
All right.
All
Great.
right.
All right, should we go right to review of the minutes?
Yeah.
And once people have had an opportunity to review, I would entertain a motion.
I can make the motion to, whoops. I can motion to accept.
I can second that motion.
Okay,
All right, vote.
all in favor? Yes.
Okay, Joe.
Yes,
Jim.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That was easy. Moving on to new business, John.
I would start with a little bit with our novel coronavirus. Just a quick update. You folks probably know the numbers, seen the numbers. So numbers look good as of now, averaging about a case a day over the last week in the city. What do we have? 18 active cases, 19 active cases as we speak.
Yeah.
Averaging about one a day. 6 active in long-term care or assisted living facilities out of that 19. So we've switched gears a little bit to messaging campaign to remind folks of the value of wearing face coverings. You may have seen some of our signage out and about. We have on the electronic billboard on Granger Boulevard. We have one of our fancy new slogans of reopening success requires one simple task: wear the mask. Some other signage that we have downtown and in French Hill: don't make a mask, wear the mask. So just trying to get out to folks, not to get too caught up in the reopening phases. As we enter today, phase 3. Some of the highlights of that, if I can real quick: fitness centers are opening at 40% capacity, 8 persons per 1,000 square feet, not to exceed 25 people. Movie theaters similar. In some indoor recreational activities with low potential for contact, namely batting cages, driving ranges, go-karts, bowling alleys, rock climbing walls, able to open in step 1 of phase 3 as well. The latest news as of Friday and today was we received a call from DPH regarding Stop the Spread campaign that targets cities and towns that have, an incidence of COVID that is elevated and compared to some other parts of the state, and they want to do some free test all programs or program. So we've said yes to that. We're in the process of trying to fine tune. We'll have a conference call tomorrow morning with DPH, and they're looking for a local provider. And Marlborough Hospital, of course, came kind of first to mind. It was my first to mind, and I think it was DPH's first in mind as well. We reached out to the hospital today, spoke with John Kelly. He seemed interested. He was going to run it at some of his higher ups, I think, in the morning and in preparation for our 9:30 conference call with DPH. So the thinking, and it's just thinking as of now, is we would set something up at Whitcomb School. That just seems to be the best place in and out that we could come up with. Maybe the hospital kind of does the program through their facility as well, so there's 2 sites. But stay tuned, I think more details, we'll try to firm that up. And if Marlborough Hospital turns and says ultimately it's not something they have an interest in, DPH and us will be looking for another local provider to help support it. So they would come out, DPH comes out with a contractor and a van, and those folks are kind of do their own thing, but they have a capacity of about 50 tests a day, we're told. So the idea of bringing someone else on board to help with the numbers, because I think Marlborough Hospital's still doing 50 tests a day or so themselves.
I haven't heard the numbers recently, but, you know.
Yeah, so I don't think Marlborough could handle it all or would want to anyway, so that's kind of where we're at with the discussion. That really just started. It came to us Friday. There wasn't a lot going on here Friday in regards to taking on a lot of new business because a lot of people out of the office, but so really kind of started today, and we'll try to, but the rollout would be as soon as Friday. It would run from Friday the 10th to August 14th.
And their goal is to test what portion of the population?
Any and everyone who wants, hopefully. So if somebody who, is worried about insurance or is worried, they don't show any symptoms, but they, don't have a provider, they don't want to deal with that, they can just show up and get tested, is how it's explained. So.
And the site you're looking at, will it have public transportation access?
No, I don't think they have a drop off at Whitcomb School, but I think the problem we run into is parking. If we truly put it, at a spot that has public transportation and parking.
That would make me say that it would be very beneficial to get Marlborough Hospital on board, because it is a site with a drop off for public transportation. So you could have a drive-up option in one place and a drop-off in another, although I'm not sure what Marlborough's doing about walk-up service, because when I was running the tent there 3 months ago, we were not doing walk-ups. It was only drive-up.
Right.
But I think that might have changed since then. I don't know.
I think it's a drive-up, and then you kind of, they pass you the vial, and you kind of do it yourself, and you pass it out the window.
Yeah, it's saliva testing now.
Yeah.
It's much more comfortable than the swabs.
I mean, I would have liked to have it all at Marlborough Hospital if possible, right? It's just simple messaging, and but I think they don't have the resource or the parking to do it. Right. So is that something, if I can ask, is that something that's come through Framingham's way, Robin, that program, do you know?
We have not heard that. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Who from DPH contacted you?
This was Elizabeth Larson. And then there's the kind of legislative liaison that contacted the mayor. His name is Rob McLaughlin, I think.
Okay.
I can forward you the email if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the office all day today, and I didn't hear anything come in. So sometimes Sam will get the call, but we have been so swamped that we just sometimes don't find out until a couple of days later.
Sure. Or maybe you have testing. You have a community health center that does some testing too, right?
Yeah, but not a lot. We actually got a big complaint from one of the testing sites in Framingham that a woman's daughter set up an appointment to get tested. I guess she was exposed. And when she showed up for her scheduled appointment, they turned her away and said that they were only taking walk-ins and they didn't want to stay and wait, and there was nobody in there. So I don't really know what's going on right now as far as testing.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some hiccups too. I think it just comes with the program, right? Somewhere the application breaks down, but Um, anything else? Anyone have anything else on the COVID front they want to offer? Or?
I did
Well, I
have
mean-
one, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say our numbers are continuing to improve in the hospitals. I just had the dashboard up here. And Marlborough Hospital currently has 1 confirmed case. University campus has 7 confirmed cases in the entire campus, 12 at Memorial. There's a number of PUIs, patients under investigation, but those are pretty good numbers. Health Alliance has 0 confirmed cases in the hospital at the moment.
Wow. Awesome.
That's great.
That being said, if you go to the Johns Hopkins ArcGIS and look at their graph of new cases, the curve has a new inflection point, and that's a little frightening.
So the national curve?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, our numbers are holding steady. They're not continuing to drop. Massachusetts is holding steady, but I very much worry about as it gets out of control in these other states, people will move state to state. We will have reintroduction in little pockets here.
Well, even the back to work or back to daycare, we had a couple of the daycares call us today with a case, and so that's happening, right? So it's kind of a primer for back to school, right? Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What were you going to say, Robin?
I forgot.
All right. Well, I'll just jump ahead then to a couple things, if I could, on my update. So I sent along some cooling center, how would I say that? A cooling center log, or just an FYI that the deputy fire chief and myself walked the council on aging in the high school, just preparing if we had to open a cooling center, if it got that hot, we ran out of power at the same time, a heat wave and a lack of power. I know the mayor had said some of his colleagues, due to COVID, are not doing cooling centers at this time or this season. So whether we ever get there, ever have the need to do it, remains to be seen, but we at least, did a walkthrough, set up some protocols. Should be able to roll that out if we decide it's something we need to do or want to do at some point this summer. I would just, I guess I'd like to just introduce Trey Hassan, the sanitarian you see in the other box. Some of you may not recognize. So Trey started in the end of March, really, right as we were hitting COVID, the start of it, he kind of came in and, it was kind of a weird time to be starting someone, but we did need the help, and he was a quick study. And I'll let him just introduce himself a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, my name's Trey Hassan. Obviously, graduated from Worcester State in 2018 with a bachelor's in public health. Interned in Hudson for a little bit. Went to the private sector with DJs, doing some stuff there, and now I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So Trey's been valuable to us. He's hopped into the Maven system and helps run some numbers for us in regards to communicable disease stuff if Tina's backed up and we need a report out. So he's been a valuable part to the office in the short term time he's been here. So we welcome him. We couldn't find a better or earlier time to introduce him, given the kind of the weird meeting schedule and virtual meetings we've had. So I just wanted to get him out there so you guys put a face with the name as we go forward. So we have 2 new sanitarians over the last almost 6 months now. We have Tina, who did receive her, I think last time we spoke, it had to go through council. It had kind of been blessed by the mayor and you folks, but still had to navigate council a little bit, and that happened. So she has been taken care of with that official move from what was that, senior clerk to principal clerk. So thanks for all the work in that regard. That's obviously well deserved. And lastly, we made an offer today to a public health nurse. So we'll wait and see how that comes back. You know, quite frankly, I think some of the challenge has been nobody wants to work quite for what we're willing to pay. I mean, that's just the reality of some of the public sector work we do. You go down the street to the school department, you do a little better for probably a bunch of different reasons. So we're up against you know, some challenges trying to find the right person, but we'll see how this one works out. I don't want to say too much until we hear you know, yay or nay, which we should hear within the next day, I would think, and I'll certainly pass that on as we hear. But it's kind of it's arguably in negotiations, you might say. So we'll see if that works or not.
So the minutes from the last meeting mentioned a salary survey of local positions. How did we do as compared to those?
It didn't jump off the page in regards to are we grossly under our market basket of communities. So, you know, at a certain point, if we can't get the applicants, you know, continue to kind of ring that bell and try to get somebody to listen. But, you know, we decided to repost it again. Instead of just going to our public health professional groups, we went out to Indeed, and I think there was one other, and we did get some candidates from there. A lot of times you get more of the private sector folks coming from those services, but that's okay too. I think that's the path of a lot of public health nurses, right? They worked in the hospital and they end up kind of a career change. So a little bit of a learning curve when that happens, but you know, with the right person, that's certainly doable. So we'll see how this one, you know, we'll just go from here, depending on how this thing works out, right? Maybe we're back at it, we're looking at the salary survey and trying to do something if it didn't work out. But like I said, it didn't jump off the page. So we decided we'd just put it back out there, and at the same time be able to say we advertised it for whatever it was. I think it was 2 weeks, and now we've advertised it for another 3 weeks, and you know, if need be. So stay tuned. And ideally, you know, we'd like to get someone on board before the end of July, kind of warming up as we go into September and school back and all that stuff. So, and that's all I have on kind of the HR front. Tobacco. So as you might remember, June 1st, flavors and menthol cigarettes no longer, unless you're a smoking bar, which we have prohibited in the city. So we are not seeing and should not see any menthol or any flavored tobacco products. So we did a compliance check in that regard, probably the second week of June, and we had good success in regards to that. There wasn't a lot out there. We found one like under the counter, which, you know, we said that you can't have it under the counter because from under the counter it sometimes goes over the counter is our thinking. So had them remove that, but aside from that, we didn't see those products out there, so that was good. Tripoli, as you probably saw, we had that positive case in, I think it was Orange, Mass, which I was a little surprised to see it out west first. Usually it's south and east, as I remember, is where they show up first. It kind of works westward and northward usually. But nothing in Marlborough. They've done 94 mosquito samples, or mosquitoes were tested since June 15th, and all negative as of now, as of this date. Reopening phase 3, we went through that a little earlier. Some of the what's reopening. Today is the start of phase 3, so we talked a little bit about that. That's all I have in regards to the director's update.
John, I have a question.
Sure.
Do do the catch basins? Do they put the larvicide in the catch basins?
Yep, I think that's in May, they do that.
Okay.
And I think they also kind of strategically do some wetlands with the larviciding too. And now they're doing the adulticiding, but really on a backpack level, kind of lot by lot as requested. And they would only do that flyover aerial if it's the governor's declaration of a public health emergency later in the season, perhaps. And I do have one item for subdivision site plan special permits, if you want to go there, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
So I put in your packet I'm just going to share my screen here and bear with me. This is first for us. So I put in the regulations for the wetlands and floodplain.
Trying to range on it. I have to double click it.
The ordinance for floodplain and wetland alteration. The requirement is for a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals if an applicant wants to fill a portion of the floodplain and or wetlands. So tonight, I would ask for the board's comments in regards to that application. The ZBA requires comments from the engineering or DPW, the Conservation Commission, and the Board of Health prior to them making a decision on this special permit application. So I think I included in your packet the letters from Conservation Commission, the letters from the applicant or the proponent, and a letter from Tom DiPerzio, one of the city engineers, speaking to this project, and in particular in regards to the special permit request to alter the floodplain. And I would just walk you through this project. We talked about this a couple of meetings ago, I believe. This is the property known as the Horse Farm across from La Tapatia Restaurant. There's some architectural renderings you should see on your screen there. It is, so there's the site. There's 3 lots. This lot here will be donated to Conservation Commission. This is an overflow parking area, and this is the main project area. So here's the details in the numbers: 188 units, 128 one-bedrooms, 62 bedroom units, 376 parking spaces. They have the swimming pool here, apartment building, some garages along the perimeter of the development. So I'm just going to zoom in here real quick. So what we're looking at is this overflow parking area, and I'll show you another detail in a moment here, but this area here, they're filling to make additional parking, and then they compensate with this floodplain replication where they'll dig out a low area around the same elevations to provide for similar or above similar capacities for flood storage, as well as an area here and over here and a little piece over here. They propose to do the same to fill the floodplain and then recreate. And the next drawing will show you some of the recreated areas. So this is that edge of driveway of the main project. This is that overflow parking. So in the red, you have the floodplain filling area where they would fill this area to level off for parking in the red hash mark. Same thing here in this main parking area. They'd fill this red hash marked area and then ultimately pave it and recreate this area here, the creation of floodplain storage here. And then on the, I guess that would be to the west. If I scroll down, you'll see the other area we spoke of. So here's that swimming pool. Just to what would be the south of that, you have more of this created floodplain storage. So they're going to create more of the floodplain right here, fill the red hash mark, floodplain filling here, here, and a little piece here. And I think that's it on the drawings. And I think you read or I don't know if you read, but some of the summaries by the city engineer and the Conservation Commission spoke to some of the review of the drainage or stormwater calcs, as well as their comments or recommendations or not, or how they felt it fit into I guess the ordinance and I think the language they use, I'll just reference that real quick, is, and this shows up in the applicant's letter as well, the attorney's letter for the applicant, where the Board of Appeals may issue a special permit hereunder subject to other provisions of this zoning chapter if it finds that the proposed constructions and use and/or proposed change in the grade will not derogate from the intent and purpose of this district, nor endanger the health and safety of the public, nor the legitimate use of other land in the city. So
I think the biggest concern for us in this would be around mosquito risk and floodplains. And I would be more concerned if we were creating a significant amount of additional wetlands. What we're doing is preserving them because we need to preserve them anyway. So I don't see a significant public health impact here.
So the numbers look, I think it's about 7,000 square feet of
Cubic feet
of storage capacity or floodplain, I guess. Yeah, additional flood storage, 7,145 cubic feet. So they created an excess, which is always a good thing, I think. As we know, flooding is not going away. We're getting a 100-year storm every 10 years, it feels like, right? So I would, if that's the consensus of the board, I would kind of offer out a draft motion if it would be entertained.
Sure.
So I have a recommended motion of, based on the applicant's plan and city engineer's review of the proposed floodplain alterations, said alterations appear to be within the spirit and purpose of the Floodplain and Wetland Protection District Ordinance. Thoughts?
I think that's fine, but I think we ought to append to it that we, as the Board of Health, would have no objection to proceeding. Because I think they're looking for an answer from us.
Yep.
So I would make that motion.
Given that Priscilla Ryder had no problem with it, I also wouldn't have a problem with it. She knows a lot more about it than I do. So I would be very comfortable seconding that.
Okay.
Jim Griffith.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Okay, Joe,
Yep.
Jim,
Yes,
Robin,
Yes.
thank you.
And the motion carries.
Okay,
And that's all I have for that. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, is there any update on the status of Memorial Beach? Any testing that's going to be done? Any comments about the cleanup that occurred? Anything?
I have no knowledge of this, so I would ask John.
So as of, was that this week? Oh, was that Monday? So
We
the beach formally opened on, look at my calendar. Bear with me one second.
last Wednesday.
It was Friday, right?
It's the 26th, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, you know what it was? No, it was the bathrooms opened on Wednesday. The 24th, and the beach opened on Friday, the 26th. And prior to that, the beach was closed, but you could still access it, and it was less than the perfect situation, as I'm sure folks know. So as of that Monday, say the 5th, the 22nd or the 23rd, the mayor held a press conference to say it's just Marlborough residents. So we were getting a lot of folks from out of town as well because other beaches aren't open. So it's been restricted to Marlborough residents. Access has been restricted to one way in, one way out, and the gate is locked, at the end of the day. And folks told to go home before the gate is locked.
Streets.
Some of the parking spots have been blocked off in the parking lot to ensure better capacity at the beach. Parking is no longer allowed on any of the side streets around the beach, and it's posted. So I think it's much improved out there, is my sense. So, and as you probably remember, every week we do, starting the week before Memorial Day, right up till Labor Day, we do sampling of the beach at 6 locations on Fort Meadow Pond, one of which is Memorial, and there's 5 other kind of semi-public beaches that we test as well, usually on a Monday or a Tuesday. So that program continues, and the results have been fine all season. So hopefully, with the warm weather, we sometimes run into problems, but not that often in my experience here. So we'll continue to do that sampling program. And the results have been good so far this year. So I think more commonly in years past, we've had that cyanobacteria, right? The blue-green algae that we keep an eye on each time we go out and sample and Priscilla from Conservation is good. And we have some eyes and ears on the lake too, as you might imagine, that give us a hint when they see stuff going on, and as well as when we see the blue-green algae start to prosper, I guess you'd say. So I think the beach is in a much better situation than it was just a couple weeks ago.
Is the testing done on the same day every week?
It's usually done early in the week, and that being because if you do get some hit that's high, you can retest before the weekend comes and not have to close a beach for the weekend. That's been kind of logic that as long as I've been in public health, beaches have been done early in the week, just as I don't know if it's a habit or good science behind it, but that's kind of how we've always done it.
And in case you can't tell, I'm going down my list of questions that have been presented to me.
Yeah.
When you test, what is the turnaround time for the results?
It's 24 hours. Occasionally we'll get a verbal quicker than that. If we need to know, we can call and chase something down. The lab's out of Rhode Island. There's a local branch out of Hudson, but they run samples out of Rhode Island and process all the paperwork down there. So we call it down there. They can get us something a little quicker than that sometimes.
And if John Q. Public wanted to know the results of this week's testing, is that something that's available to the public if they call your office?
Certainly. Yep.
And a safe bet would say that, say, by Thursday, the results would be in for that particular week?
Yep, yep. Matter of fact, we try to get them by like Wednesday noon. And that allows us, if possible, when you need to retest, you can run a sample to the lab and get results before Friday, ideally Thursday, and make a decision whether it warrants any beach closure, say.
Great. Thank you for the info. I'll pass it on.
Yep, and it's E. coli is our indicator organism that we use. They do let you use enterococci, I believe, but I think that's preferred for salt water and the E. coli for fresh water.
Okay.
Which lab do you use, John?
We use RI Analytical out of Hudson. It's kind of right across from the new, what do you call
Market basket.
them? Yeah, no, that's
Highland
not.
Commons.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking
Oh,
the,
you're talking about the marijuana place.
yeah, what's the term?
Temescal?
Yeah, is that Mezcal? Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
right across in the back. It's in the,
Oh,
kinda,
okay.
it's right to the left of the hotel. There's a building to the
Oh,
left of
yeah.
the hotel, and you go around back, and it's real convenient for us.
Good.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me get rid of this screen here.
Nope, nope. Do your thing again in the white little
Oh,
window.
yeah.
There you go.
There we are. So what's left? Anything?
Nothing from me.
Any other new business?
I don't have anything else.
All right. Then I guess I will entertain everybody's favorite motion.
Although, should we
next
set a
week.
meeting first?
Oh, yeah, we should do that.
Maybe.
Let's see.
August 3rd.
3rd or the 10th would be the guess.
So those are both school weeks for me. My summer sessions are during that, but it's all virtual, and I'll be sitting right at this desk through all of it, so I don't see why not either of them.
So you go back-to-back school weeks?
This program, I do 3 weeks, Monday through Friday during the summer, and then the rest of it during the year is a 4-day weekend every other month. So,
It's like you're in the National Guard.
yeah. Except the National Guard sitting in a chair staring at a camera. And I only have this huge book on healthcare financial management that I have to read before July 24th.
You get the book on tape, right?
Yeah, I looked.
Watch the movie.
There isn't one. So the 3rd is fine with me.
Tina said, watch the movie.
Yeah, you
It
know,
would end different though.
You know what? The movie's on every night at 6 p.m. on channels 4, 5, and 7.
Yeah, I
Watch.
know.
Okay.
it is scary, huh, when you watch the rest of the country? You just kind of go,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
The 3rd or the 10th, either one is fine for Jim.
Okay. Robin?
I'm good, either one.
Let's do the 3rd.
All right.
Stick with our pattern.
All right, awesome.
All right.
So any-
I will submit a motion that we adjourn.
And I'll
All right.
second that motion.
Good
Oh,
Lord. Roll call, Joe.
All right, all in favor? Yo.
All right, roll call, Joe.
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I'm Robin.
Yes.
Thank you, 3-0.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next month, if not
All right,
before
nice
for
to
anything.
meet you.
Thanks.